Hello, people. This is Lady Fan again. Welcome to my YouTube channel and thank you for stopping by. Okay, so in my last video, I just touched on it briefly about a boss that I had who was a bit, I think, I don't want to use the word difficult, but yeah, that was part one. So I'm going into part two today, really talking about working with difficult bosses. So in my entire life, I think I can count like two difficult bosses that I've ever worked with. One in Nigeria and one in Canada, as in really difficult people. It's very different when you are the one who really has issues with this person, maybe he's a one-off and things like that. But when the boss has issues with multiple people, or they're just difficult people. They're not easy to talk to. You can't converse with them. You can't ask questions or things like that. Yes, then you can see that this person is the one that is difficult. At other times, you have to look inwards and just search yourself. Am I the one, overthinking things? Am I the one doing things that this person doesn't really like? Okay, so fast forward. I'll talk about my boss in Nigeria, or the boss that I had at that time. You can imagine somebody walking into the office and literally yelling at you and say, "Where are the animals in this office?" And because I can't speak out, I will literally just mutter under my breath that there's no animal kingdom without a king. So you are the king of the animals. Oh my goodness. I wish I could, spill it out. And yeah, I know somebody is saying right there that, and he will come for your head. But I couldn't. But he was very difficult. And there was a time I was making a move to leave that office. I don't know what this guy saw. He just called me and said, "So, madam, are you making any move to leave?" For the life of me, I said, "This guy is using jazz." But I didn't say anything. I didn't even answer him. I said, "No." And then when everything was finalized, I had done the interviews and everything was finalized, I didn't even tell him that I was resigning. There was no point. I wrote my resignation letter, JJ, and give it to the HR. So it was at management meeting that HR, of course, HR had told him, and it was at management meeting that he announced to everybody that you can imagine, and she's leaving us, because I was head of financial control at the time, and she's leaving us, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. I left, and I was glad because it was a difficult person. Fast forward to some months or so down the line, he applied to the company I joined. And my boss there called me and said, "This so person is applying." And in his words, "Is this somebody you can go to bed with?" And I said, and there were a couple of us from the previous company, and he actually asked each one of us. None of us gave any good report about the guy. That was how he was not employed. So book smart, but character-wise, not quite there. Why am I getting to? Sometimes you may know how to do the job. You may be very good on the job. You may be an expert. But if you are not a people person or you don't have good character, nothing is going to speak for you in the future. When you climb a ladder, I think I've heard this before somehow, that when you climb a ladder and you trample upon people to get up there, the same set of people will remove the ladder under you and you will fall crashing. So lesson that I learned in that space is never ever trample on people. Do not, as a matter of principle, trample on people or not have good relationship with people or whatever. And that brings me to my difficult boss in Canada. I would have thought that Canada, everybody is very respectful and all that. But I do have a difficult boss that can never apologize for whatever is said, even when she is wrong. Can imagine someone giving you information that is absolutely wrong. You find out after the fact, and you go back to say, "Oh, I found out that this. And instead of acknowledging that, "Oh, I am sorry." Maybe some people see acknowledging faults as a weakness. I really don't get it. But no apologies and just glosses over it and just wants you to take it like that. I think that if I was the only one that was having that kind of issue, there'll be a problem. But everybody on the team does have, to the extent that some people have had to leave, because of that. She's one person who will correct your work. And after correcting the work and you've done it the way she wants, she'll correct her own work again. You can imagine that. Giving you psychological issues. Anyway, lessons that I'm learning in life. It's tough to work with difficult people, but you have to build your resilience. So I'm having my coping mechanism. Is there anybody who can relate? Let's talk in the comment section. Have a good evening.